Hello and welcome back to another gig log. This is Nate within the Mix Light and Sound, and we are setting up for bingo. So a lot of the work we do, of course, is with live entertainment, bands and such. This time we are setting up for a bingo event, and we'll take you through what our setup process is going to look like. We currently got everything loaded in from the truck, and I'll just show you here real quick something that's rare for me. See if you can see it behind me there. We got everything in on just one single cart load. So nice simple load in. There's a nice ramp. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to set up, and I'll take you through some of the particulars here in just a moment. So stay tuned. So here's a look at the stage. We're going to set a pair of speakers up on top there. We're going to have a mixer back behind. And here is the banquet hall that we're covering. Now, the organizers had some specific requirements. They wanted some additional speakers set up, either as delays or just fills here, because they are afraid of the front speakers blasting. I guess they had some issues with that in the past. This is our second time doing it. So last time we did have a satellite speaker set up in the back for them. They had asked, they had another event here in between that I didn't do, and they wanted 4 speakers set up this time. So 2 in the back and 2 on stage, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Normally, for something like that, I would kind of do delay speakers up the sides. You can see that there's outlets there. However, they want to keep, it's going to be a packed house here, so they want to keep those avenues open for people being able to walk back and forth, hence why they want them tucked in the back corner. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that without running a whole bunch of cables back and forth. We're going to wirelessly connect to those. I'll show you what my thought process is around that. So right now I'm going to go ahead and get set up. All right, so I'm exploring the back corners here real quick. Just want to make sure that we have power. And we do have one outlet here in the corner. And check the other end here. I'm assuming that we will have a power outlet. Yes, there it is. So we're set for power. So good there. So let's get the rest of the stage set up. All right, we'll see how much this is synced. We're going to try something different here. We're going to do POV, and we're going to do the 360 cam while we're setting up. So what I'm thinking is we have an outlet back here that isn't being used. Probably going to set up my mixer and everything over in this corner here. We're going to have one speaker here, one speaker on the other end. So we'll have our 2 tripods set up here. And then we'll explain what the rest of this gear is. So let's start with our positioning first. I'm thinking we want to go here, just back enough if anybody's got to walk up across the stage. And then the other one we'll do over here, same idea. And maybe we'll tilt in a little bit with our speakers. So in this case, because we are indoors, we can take off the cases and use the X40s as they were intended. So, easiest thing to do, just chuck them up on here. And if we open it up, we are going to need the power cord. But the rest of the case we can throw over here. There is a separate power unit we can grab over there. Next up, we'll get the other side. Up the stand. cord. And then just slip these guys right off. And that dead case is back there. All right, next up, we're gonna figure out our mixing here. So, what I'm actually gonna do, since there's no table or anything, we're gonna set everything on the cart. So, we're gonna start with this rack first. And I just gotta make sure I get the front and backs taken care of. There's one. Situate our racklets back here. So we'll do something like this. So now we'll take these cases off, and you can see what we're working with here. And we'll explain why in just a moment. And sorry if it's a little dark back here. That's just kind of what we were dealt. And I have wireless mics in there, so we're gonna set this here so we don't forget them. Okay. So now we have our rack case. Let's get power to this guy. Get this all sorted out. So all we need to do is plug in HDMI to the monitor and the USB, which gives power and touch control to the monitor. There's a little kickstand on the back, so you can pump it up there. We're going to be controlling everything through an iPad anyway. Okay. And we did bring plenty of extension cords here, so first things first, let's get power to the mixer. Probably gonna need an extension cord to get power to, well, maybe not, we can just plug in right off the mixer there. So these two are gonna be dedicated to those back corners there. And then we have use this little shorty for this guy over here. And we'll use the single extension cord to run up to the mixer. Almost everything except for the speakers is going to be low voltage, so I'm not too concerned there. So let's see how far we can get here with a run. I'm going to try and run it around the edges here, just to keep out of walkways. But I think we should be fine. Yeah, plenty. So we'll plug you in here. Go back plug you in the back here. Let's see what we got. These cables are cold, so they're not unraveling too great right now. But I'm not terribly concerned with them being out of the walkways. Alright. We're seeing voltage. So that's good there. Alright. Next up, let's get some stuff going to the speakers here. So, for this first speaker, I'm thinking we have enough where we can just get right to the mixing board without using an extension cord. So I'll just kind of tie this up here for now so we have enough slack and see where we end up here. Again, lovely cold cables. So we can just come out of the back here, and I'll see how terrible that looks. Is it pulling up on the curtain at all? No, not really. All right, so that'll work, and we have some slack to raise our height up, and it won't mess up with the curtain there, and it's out of the way. Even better. Now this side is gonna need a little help, because we're not going to reach. There's our slack there. We'll come under the curtain, and then we'll grab power from, there's a little strip back here. Yeah, there she is. So we'll grab power right here. Come around. All right. So we've got power to our speakers. Now let's figure out what we're going to do for signal. Signal, I'm probably going to hardwire both up here. And I think I have enough XLR to go around, again, out of the walkway. And then we'll figure out from there. All right, so we have our handy backpack here, which has all of our spare cables. So we got a couple 10-footers, a couple 25-footers in here. So let's put the 10-footers aside for now. And let's see how far we can get with 50 feet. And if we need to augment that with a 10-footer, we can. So I'm going to come out of the back of the Behringer wing. And what I should do is just flip this on so I get my nice little USB light in the back here and can see where I'm doing connections. Ta-da! Alright, so we got left, right. This is going to be a righty, so we'll just pull out of here, and again we'll just direct ourselves back behind the curtain here. See how far. All right, so there's a single 25. We'll grab another 25. And hook in here. And I think we're going to need a little more, because I also don't think that this was a full 25 foot. But I'm gonna be probably too optimistic here. Let's see if we can hit it with a 10-footer. I think I'm gonna be too optimistic. That'll probably just reach, but we probably won't have enough to get some height, which technically we've already got our height because we are up on the stage, and other than the caller himself, nobody else is going to be announcing from the stage. So that said, 10-footer. All right. So we've got that in. Kind of give these a little wrap, just to look nice-ish. All right. All right. That should be out of sight from the audience. Now we need signal to this side. Got another 10-footer. So again, we're just going to come out of the back of the X32 rack to our left here and load under. And then we'll grab a 10-footer. And in she goes. Okay. Next up, let's get some of these connections tied together in the back. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to use the PSM 300s down here coming out of the wing, and we're going to broadcast on 2 matrices out to the satellite speakers that are out on or out in the audience area. So that being said, what we need to do is get it connected into the wing, and then also get an antenna, which I'm probably just going to clamp up to the top of this box. All right, so to get that going, for ease of use, we keep a little clamp here for our paddle antenna, which is here in the back. Let's see, this is our rolled up DMX. We don't want to mess with that right now. Let's get this out of the way. We're not doing any lighting tonight. So we'll set this to the side here. All right, so we got our paddle antenna. We have our antenna wire out there. In the rack here, we have 2 connections because we have an SD8 in the PSM and with the PSMs. So it was just an extra Behringer SD8 that wasn't being used. So we have 6 outputs for the in-ears that are racked in here. So either 3 stereo pairs or 6 mono sends. So with that, let's go ahead and plug that in. And I think we're going to go into AES-B because I don't use that very often. And then what we're going to end up doing is we're going to route our 2 matrices to 2 of the PSMs. And I'll show you what we do with the boxes out there. All right, we have our 4 wireless hooked in. The other thing we need to do is we have additional wireless up at the top. The reason for so much wireless is that as one of their requirements, not only do we have the bingo caller who's up on stage, but we are also going to have a what do we got here? We have our 1 and 2. That's our talkback, which we're not going to use. So we're just going to put these in. Might as well keep them all at the end here. So we're putting them in 1920, and then the wireless here. So what we're going to have is 5 wireless total, because those 5 wireless are going to be out in the audience. Those are for the card checkers. They want the card checkers to have a microphone so they can click on and they can announce when they're checking a card for somebody who calls bingo. That's what they asked for. And we have 4 wireless in the rack itself, but they asked for some additional. So rather than dig out like some other stuff like SLXD and all of that, we're just going to supplement it with our little TalkBack Phoenix Pro unit here. And that should be plenty with 6 wireless mics there. All right, so we've got power from this. We've got our signal in here. We've got our signal. We've got our power. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the wing rack. And for the most part, we should be back done here. The only other thing is instead of a wireless mic for the caller, I think we're probably going to do a wired mic since we're just right next door to them. Why worry about batteries and all of that? We can just do a hardwired mic right in here. So I'm going to run an XLR out of 18 here up to the corner, and then we'll go out and we'll grab one of our wireless mics. Out front here, if I can remember where I said it, we should have our, here we go, cables for our paddle. So this nice little clamp makes it easy. It was always a pain dragging an extra stand around, and I was actually going to bring a stand for here to put this on, but when I got here I realized that I forgot it. So instead we're just going to clamp this to the head of the Meyer and use this antenna to beam out to our speakers out there. So again, we'll take our cable here, slide it, and again, you're probably not going to be able to see this part because I'm reaching too far, but we'll connect it in, aimed out, and then just slide under here, and come up. There we are. Turn it on because we should have power. And there we are. Power, power, power. Now on the rack we should have, all right, we can see B is lit. So we're great there. We'll come back and we're gonna handle all the routing here in a little bit. But next up, we're going to take a look at getting the satellite speakers up and connected. We're gonna use their XLR here and give them, I did not coil this, I'm not sure who did. Looks like we pulled from the wrong end, but it's also a shorty cable, so get this unwired here. I love when cables are, there we go. So we'll set this up here, kind of bring it around, and we'll just follow their extension cord out, come back around, and boom, we're set there. All right, let's go jump and take care of the other speakers there. So as I mentioned, we're going to use the PSMs as a to get the wireless signal out to the satellite speakers out there. And one of the biggest issues with using in-ears, I mean, they work great signal-wise. I've used this a lot. Even outdoors, like over 300 feet, have been able to beam signal out to different areas. So PSMs with a paddle antenna are amazing for that. But the issue you run into is batteries. You know, depending on how long this is going, I think this is going to be like a 6-hour event while the bingo's going on. You don't want to check batteries all the time. So what I found are these little AA adapters. Bought these a couple of years ago for an outdoor gig I was using. It has one AA size, I guess we could call it a battery or adapter, dongle, with a little ribbon cable, so it allows it to sneak through the little latch here. You can keep this closed, which is also nice. And then it has a little dummy battery to go into it. So basically, I put these in. Now I can turn on the PSMs, have them plugged into power, and they'll run until I turn them back off, or as long as there's power going to them. And then to go into the speaker, we just have a 3.5 millimeter to male XLR. We're going to come out of the pack into the speaker, and then we're going to control the volumes and maybe some delay. We're actually going to run matrix outs through the PSMs into those satellite speakers. All right, so to make this work, we don't need this huge power cable, but the reason it's going to be important is that we need it to power both the in-ear pack, which is going to sit up top there, and the speaker itself, of course. So drop that down, poke this through. I'm going to go through 2 just to give it a little bit more slack. And then we have our speaker power. And we'll drape that around. And then we've got our in-ears, which we are going to plug in now and turn on. So we only need one side here, and we have it poke in all the way to, like, that's right. So I'm going to bring it up around to the left. We do, of course, have to hook in our audio. So just a quick little cable here. And again, we can tuck that back up top there. And now we're set. All right, now we're going to do our routing on the X32. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all the channels that we don't need. Unlock, none, do +1, none, 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 none. Now, we have 3 additional mics coming in. So mic 1 is going to be, I'm going to make that the main caller mic, the hardline mic. So we put that in 18. And then we have 19 and 20 that were our additional wireless mics. And then we have the rest of our wireless mics here. I'm going to get rid of the drum vocal because we don't have that. So now our input routing should be good to go. The next thing we need to do is figure out the outputs. So local outs, first off, 7 and 8 are already tied to matrix 1. So that's my main left and right. I use that all the time. My main goes into a matrix and then comes out of there. So we're good there. So what we really want to do is go to AES-B. And now I plan on using 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But again, we're just sending mono signals. So it'll be left through 1 and 2, right through 3 and 4. So we're going to use 2 separate matrices for that. So I'm going to go to matrix and let's see, just so we don't get confused with anything else, we're going to go 3 and 4. So 3 left, 3 right, plus 1. So 3 left, 3 right, 4 left, 4 right. So now matrix 3 will be the one satellite speaker, matrix 4 will be the other satellite speaker. And that should be going through ASB directly to our PSMs. So now to grab an iPad and check it all out. Alright, so we have sound coming out of the main speakers here. And if we look, we've done our matrix routing correctly because we have signal on the PSMs themselves, which is great. So then we'll just check it out front and dial it in, see what sounds good. Alright, and that'll pretty much do it for the setup. So we just have to grab a wired mic out of the truck there, throw that on. We're going to put batteries in all of our wireless mics here, so those are ready to go. We just went around, checked not only by music, but did a 80 beat per minute. I have a little metronome that I play out just to see how bad delays are between the speakers. And walking the room, I got the volumes just enough so that basically as one speaker's dropping off, the other one picks up, so the delays don't really seem to be that much of an issue. More so of the issue is just the reflections off the walls, so that might affect our clarity depending on who's speaking and when, but we'll play with that when we get to it. The PSMs working fantastic with those battery adapters, so everything is working off AC power. The only thing that's battery powered is going to be our wireless mics here, and these batteries last at least 8 hours, so we'll have plenty of juice for the gig. But as you can see, we have plenty of backup rechargeable batteries here as well. With that, we'll go ahead and sign off for now. So we didn't get too much of an after action there, but just want to say that the PSMs, they performed flawlessly at the bingo. Everybody could hear each other. And the nice part is that the speakers, I got them to just the right volume where I didn't have to mess with delays. I mentioned that a little bit in the video there, but didn't have to mess with delays. Basically, the zones traded off as you walked the different areas, and even sitting in the middle where you were probably getting all of the speakers at one time still wasn't bad. So all of the caller was loud and clear, no issues with anybody hearing. And then we also had the checkers, I guess we'll call them. I don't know. So when somebody calls bingo, there was somebody there to read off the numbers, make sure it was a good bingo. And each of those individuals had a wireless mic, and they were able to kind of click in, read the numbers, and it all worked out great. We didn't get any video of the teardown because at that point we were just tearing down. It was quick and easy, probably half hour. Hopefully you took something away from this video, just a matter of different methods to use wireless to get to satellite speakers. This is one method I use. You might have seen some of my previous videos where I've also used little SLXD, the transmitters and the portable. They're meant for camera units and things, but they work out great, especially with something like battery powered, like my Electro Voice eVerse 8 that has the USB connection on there, because those SLXDs run off of USB. So again, you can run them off of battery power. You don't have to have Shure power. So a lot of options there. And of course, there are industry-specific items that are out there that are made to wirelessly transmit audio. So it is something handy, something to keep in your gig bag. Use whatever means you have. But when you can't run cables, or it's dangerous to run cables, or just not feasible based on distances and all of that, wireless is certainly an option. So thank you for watching. And again, thank you for your comments. Thank you. Please like this video. It helps with our algorithms. And of course, please subscribe as well. Until then, on to the next one. Thank you.